Hey guys, Sonya and now here with a bit of a Kapow extra.
Yeah, we decided it was high time we hustled on into King's Comics and had a bit of a talk about Wolverine.
And how could we not, really? I mean, for quite some time, Wolverine has been one of the most popular superheroes, with comics, cartoons, games, and movies all centered around our favorite adamantium-enhanced Canadian.
Yeah, and with The Wolverine about to hit cinemas, there are going to be more and more people who want to get into the comics.
That's right.
Where on earth should they start?
Well, as per usual, guys, we've got you covered with our top 5 Wolverine picks.
That's right, 5 stories that remind us why Wolverine is the best there is at what he does.
But what he does is not very nice.
First off the bat, we have Logan, a miniseries written by Brian K. Vaughan with art by Eduardo Risso. And although I probably don't need to tell you any more than that creative team to get you hooked, I will anyway. The story takes place after Wolverine has regained all of his lost memories following the events of House of M, and sees him travelling back to Japan to settle some old scores.
It's funny how many Wolverine stories are centered around revenge, but honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
And with Vaughan weaving such a surprisingly textured narrative within this short story, you do get the best of both worlds. Both an enlightening character portrait and a series of bloody throwdowns. It also furthers the question, what will it take to kill Wolverine? Because through flashbacks to World War II, we find out that dropping a nuclear bomb on his head just won't do it.
Coming up next, we have one of the truly seminal Wolverine stories, Weapon X, written and illustrated by Barry Windsor Smith.
Yeah, you really can't go past this one, can you? The Weapon X series in Marvel Comics Presents takes you on a harrowing journey into the mind of a man driven mad, as we see Logan kidnapped and subjected to the horrifying experiment that first bonded his skeleton with adamantium. Windsor Smith doesn't shy away from the carnage in this story, either in the art or with the writing.
Well, while it may not be technically speaking an origin story, this really does reveal so much about who this character really is and why he is that way. I think the violence is completely justified, and if you're looking for a story that has Wolverine with the brakes off, this is one for you.
Jumping back now, we take a look at one of the Knucklehead's first solo outings. Wolverine, written by Chris Claremont with art by Frank Miller, came out in 1982 and was the story that pretty much began comic fans' love affair with the character.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I mean this story saw him break away from the X-Men and travel to Japan, where he searches for his lost love, Mariko Yoshida. It also saw Wolverine's first clash with a group of assassins known as the Hand, who would become a frequent thorn in his side in the years to come. It could be argued that there are elements of this story which are a bit dated by today's standards, but the fact is it set the tone for almost every Logan story that followed, and it remains a must-read in the canon.
It does, and following on quite neatly with that, we have another story that features the Hand. Enemy of the State, written by Mark Millar with art by John Romita Jr. With this creative team, you've got to be expecting something big, intense, and very violent, and I can honestly say this does not disappoint. After being killed by members of the Hand, Wolverine comes back to life under their psychic control and embarks on a bloody rampage through the heroes of the Marvel Universe.
This is another instance of Wolvie going off the leash, and it ends with him, yes, you've guessed it, seeking revenge in the bloodiest way possible. This is a hell of a fun read, with some of the best fight scenes you'll see in comics. Awesome stuff. Now, for our last pick, we decided to cheat just a little bit and put 2 stories in the final slot.
Well, it was either that or resort to having a duel with knives taped to our hands. My pick is Origin, written by Paul Jenkins with art by Jenkins-Kubert. In 2001, Marvel decided it was finally time to reveal Wolverine's official origin. Now, this was a big risk considering how this character had thrived on mystery for so long, but honestly, I think it really paid off. Where Weapon X showed the depths of Wolverine's berserker rage, Origin shows how he became a man who was able to contain it. It's a tragic story, beautifully illustrated by Kubert, and is a worthy answer to such a long-standing mystery.
And then we have my pick. Another offering from Mark Millar, this time with art by Steve McNiven. Old Man Logan is set in a possible dark future where superheroes are practically extinct following the banding together of all their long-standing foes. Wolverine is a Clint Eastwoodish figure in this story who has sworn off violence and just wants to live a quiet life with his family. But a swelling revolution and a family of inbred Hulks aren't about to let that stand. It's massively over the top at times, but that's why it's brilliant.
Yes, that's true. And that is our top 5/6 Wolverine picks. I'd also like to throw out an honourable mention to Vicious Circle by David and McFarlane and The Brotherhood by Rucker and Robertson. Two really excellent titles that we just didn't have any time for.
There was no room. But hopefully those titles will have whetted your appetite for the movie.
Yeah.
And in addition to being able to read Wolverine and watch Wolverine, you can also play Wolverine, because 5 Gum Adamantium have teamed up with the oncoming film to provide a bit of online awesomeness. You can roam around Japan, you can play as Wolverine, you can fight other players.
Yeah, and there's heaps of prizes up for grabs too, like 10 grand, always handy, a trip to Japan to train with an actual samurai, and a pair of replica Wolverine claws. Snicked.
See, if we had those, we could have had the duel.
We could have.
Missed opportunity. But guys, if you want to get involved, go to 5wolverine.com where you can sign up and you can put in this secret code.
Kapowian code.
To get a bit of a leg up on the other players.
So until next time, Kapowians, be the best there is at what you do. Bye, bub.